that was right when I was graduated from high school. And I was supposed to go and live with this couple. That's my mother's brother and his wife and two little children. And live with them and go to Case Western Reserve to college. Well, the fellow died. And so that changed everything. And I ended up then going to Ohio State instead to go to college. Well, anyhow, after he died, the wife had a sister that lived in the state of Washington. I think it was Washington or Oregon, I forget which for sure. But anyway, she decided then to take the children. Her sister told her she would assure them of a good education if she would come out there, because she was high up in education and knew she could swing it. So she decided she'd go, and I remember her starting out in a Model T or Model A Ford, and she drove them out there to Oregon. I think it was Oregon. Anyhow, they all got a good education out there. But before they were up at the Bear Lake, Michigan with us one week, this sister and my aunt and her husband. And one day I was talking to one of the little girls, the only one that was left, and she said she never knew her dad. And I said, "Oh, I know your dad well. I will write you a letter about your dad." So I had written this letter sometime before, and the day that happened, we were at the table in the cottage eating our dinner, and we heard a big rapping on the doors. Get the motor, get the motor. The kids are upset the boat and they're in deep water. Well, my dad jumped over the table to grab the motor, to get the motor. Of course, in those days, the motor didn't start with a push of a button. You got to pull a rope to get them started. But anyway, the girl's daddy was a good swimmer and had some life-saving training. So he started to run for the beach to get the boat out. We had a big wooden boat at that time, and those boats that the kids were in were metal boats, and they had, under the seats, they had tanks with air in them. The boats got upset they wouldn't sink. Well, anyway, the boat got upset, and the kids got thrown out of the boat. And the mothers decided that Daddy was away that week, and they needed some bread, so they thought the kids could go. The kid was a nice, very, he knew what he was doing, and he could run the motor and take the boat and go get him some bread for the weekend. And so when my dad was going to get the motor out, he was running across the road and over to the beach to get the boat away from the dock so that they could put the motor on it and get it going. Well, the motor started with the first pull of the rope, that tap, and that was a miracle too. But anyway, they got out there. But on the way, this other fellow, he was taking off his clothes on the way over to get the boat loose from the dock. And his wife was going right behind him, picking up his clothes. And I said to this girl, "I know your dad well." So anyway, they got out there, and the other fella he was going to show them how a boat would react when you turned it and you could catch the wake, how it would make the boat rock, give him a good thrill.
Yeah.
And instead the boat upset, and he looked around and he just saw there was two girls and two boys, and he just saw two heads, so he knew the other one must be under the boat. So he swum under the boat, pulled the other one out, got the fellow to hang on to the side of that boat that wouldn't sink, of course, and he put one under one arm and one under the other arm. He said, "I'm going to get help." Luckily, the boat upset right out from that position. There was a DeMolay camp, and they saw the accident happen, and they were going to get out there. But of course, he didn't know that, and he was going to swim for help. And he told the other fellow to hold on to those girls until he got help. Well, anyway, Dad and my uncle got out there, and they saw this girl was turning blue, so they took her. They grabbed her and hoisted her into the wooden boat, and he used artificial respiration on her when Dad brought this. They turned and come back in without, because the others were hanging on the boat by then. So they got her back in, and they pulled her in, and she was still blue, and they carried her into the cabin, which was right next to ours, where they were staying, where she was staying, and her sister and her cousin were with them on the accident. Well, got her out, and Mother was a nurse, and she get some hot soup into her, and while they were doing that, she was heating her iron. She had taken a iron that you iron clothes with, and wrapped it in a towel, and was taking it over, put them to the girl's feet to get her circulation going back into her. And they got her coming around, and they got her up, and they brought her into the cabin next to ours, and was giving her the soup, and she put the iron to her feet, and they brought her around, and she got okay.
Wow.
So it was a very, very exciting experience for me. I was just a kid, about 12 years old. My sister was 10, to see this happen. So anyway, that's where that was, and I told her I knew her dad well, and I would send her a report about her dad. So I had this already written up, and I don't know if she ever got that report or not. I still have a copy of it, and that's where that story took place.
Wow.